We're talking about adding and subtracting rational expressions, and here we want to perform the indicated operation and then simplify. So the first step that we can find for the least common multiple for the denominator is factor each polynomial completely. Because we cannot subtract these right now because we have 4x as the denominator and a 7 here, and actually these denominators are factored already. So basically all we're going to do is we're going to say what's missing from this denominator that this one has and what's missing from this denominator that this one has. So on the left, we're missing a 7. So we're going to have to multiply by 7 over 7. And over here, we're missing a 4x. So we're going to have to multiply by 4x over 4x. 7 times 3 is 21. And 7 times 4x is 28x. 1 times 4x is 4x. And 7 times 4x is 28x. Then we can put these two together. We can subtract the numerator. We have a constant and we have a variable, so we can't combine those like terms. So what we end up with is we end up with just 21 minus 4x divided by 28x. And then that is in its simplest form. We have another example, example B. Going back to our steps here, we want to factor the polynomial completely because over here we have a 3x squared, and in the denominator over here we have a 3x squared minus 12x. So we want to factor each one completely first. So when we're looking at this one, when we could factor this and say 3x times x times x, but right now we're just going to leave it as 1 over 3x squared. And then we're going to add, and then we want to factor this one. So we're going to still have our x, and then each one of these has a 3 and an x in that we can factor out. So we get 3x times x minus 4. Okay, so what's missing from each of the denominators? This denominator has a 3. This denominator already has a 3. This denominator has an x squared. This denominator just has an x. So this one is going to need an extra x. So we have to multiply by x over x. So now we have 3x squared and 3x squared, but this denominator is missing the x minus 4. So this one we're going to have to multiply by x minus 4 over x minus 4. So now we can go through and just do that math. So in the numerator, x minus 4 times 1, that's just going to be equal to x minus 4. And then in the denominator, we're just going to leave it as 3x squared times x minus 4. Over here on the right, it's going to be plus, so then this is going to be x squared divided by x times x is x squared, so then we get 3x squared times x minus 4. The next thing that we can do is we can factor, or we can add our numerator here. So we end up with x squared plus x minus 4. And then our denominator is going to stay the same. And we're going to get 3x squared times x minus 4. And then that is in our simplest form.